Coach Griffith has coached for 35 years, with the last 30 at Constantine. 2022 will mark his 18th year as head coach. Coach Griffith has amassed over 300 wins in coaching. He has been a part of 17 conference championships. If you look at the program, you'll be amazed at the number of consecutive conference and regular season wins he had. The 28-year state playoff qualifier, 4 years at Mendon and 24 at Constantine. His teams have won 13 district championships, 10 regional championships, have played 10 times in the semifinals, twice at Mendon, 8 times at Constantine, 4 times state runner-up, 2 times state champion, Class D state champion at Mendon in 1989, Division 6 state champion at Constantine in 2004, 3-time Kalamazoo Area Coach of the Year, East-West All-Star Game Coach, and a 7-time Regional Coach of the Year. His biggest thrill in coaching, not only getting to coach my son in a semifinal game, but to play that game in the snow in January. Not too many high school football players and coaches will ever have the opportunity to say they competed in the month of January. Coach Griffith's most humorous incident in coaching. At practice, our fullback came to me and told me 2 9-year-olds were throwing rocks at the windows of our new school. I screamed at them and told them to drop the rocks. I would have to come over and spank them. And if you don't, I'll spank your dad also, who was my JV coach and our current co-athletic director. Funniest part is, I got to repeat that story in practice this past fall because those 2 knuckleheads were the starting tight ends and middle linebackers on my team. Coach Griffith's comments on why coach. I coach to teach. Coaching football provides all of us a format to teach real life lessons to young men and women that goes beyond just X's and O's, but lessons that last a lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of our Hall of Fame, Coach Shawn Griffith.
Football is my favorite F word. When I sat down, I started to think about how I wanted to do this. Probably some other F words that would fit in real well with this. First one, fraternity. That's what us coaches are. We really look down. I'd really like to thank the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association for honoring me here. I'd like to thank Lenny Dantine, who was a coach that nominated me personally. Jack Carlson here. I think everybody in here needs to give him a round of applause. I've had the opportunity, being a member of the regional directors, to be able to work with Jack, and I know how much time and effort he puts in to not only this banquet, but to his job for the association. Does a fantastic job. 3 Hall of Fame coaches that I got an opportunity to coach under. Coach Roger Smith at Mendon, and then at Hillsdale High School, Coach John Swartz at Mendon, and Coach Tim Baker at Constantine. Those 3 guys gave me a lot of time, a lot of effort. I learned a lot of things from all 3 of them. Certainly formed a lot of the coaching stuff that I do to this day. 3 special coaches from our conference that I've used to kind of lean on, especially in the last 5 or 6 years, those being Wade Waldrop, Ryan Bates, and Joe Stevens. I'd like to thank those guys as well for the things that they've done for me. Second F word, Falcons. I'd like all the Falcons that came today to stand up real quick. For me, coaching at Constantine started with Mike Messner. Mike's back there. 1992, Mike happened to put a flyer out there for an assistant coach. I responded to it. Then head coach Tim Baker was like, I didn't know we needed assistant coaches. But after a long talk, they ended up bringing me on the staff at that point in 92. Mike was also the athletic director in 2005 that hired me to my first varsity head coaching job. 3 coaches that mean the world to me, Tim Baker, Ken Reimer, Ethan Strausser. The 4 of us were the coaches of the program from '92 till 2004. That included what really was the transcending of the Constantine program into great things at the state level. Those guys did a great job once again. Just to be able to, as a young guy, come on and be able to do the things that they allowed me to do, I will always be appreciative of that. Other coaches, some that are here, some that aren't, that have helped along the way: Russ Shank, Tom King, Mike Harris, Chad Phelan, Randy Westerfield, Shad Tunison, Seth Hall, Matt Reed, Kyle Reimer, Tom Moe. All those guys put in time with the program, not only the years that I've been here, but the years with Coach Baker as well. My JV crew and some assistants that are back here. My dad, I got an opportunity to coach with my dad for years, which has been an awesome experience. Jerry Burgess, Darren Vandenberg, Vinny Church joined us a few years back. Great guys, great football minds, and certainly have helped. I wouldn't be up here if it weren't for guys like that. And then two guys that have kind of been here through my whole head coaching career, quite a bit: Mike Tully and Dave McGee. Dave is the co-AD we talked about earlier. Dave been the JV coach for me since I've been the varsity coach. And Mike not only was a JV assistant when I started as a varsity assistant. Mike and I have played against each other back in high school and all those years. Publicly like to apologize for all those hits I put on you, Mike. Sorry about that. But these guys have been tremendous for me. And as every coach already, and I'm sure all the others that'll go tonight will say, you don't get up here by yourself. You need all of those guys to help out. And then administration along the way that have done great things for us at Constantine. Chuck Frisbee, who was my superintendent at Constantine at one point, was also my head basketball coach way back in the day in high school. So he not only got an opportunity to learn from him as a player, the player-coach relationship, but as a superintendent. Jim Wisely, Joe Holloway, Chad Fish, Pat Green, Chris Barnes. Those were some administrators along the way that did a lot of great things to help our football program along. Way too many players to mention. You start getting into that, I could be up here all night, so I won't get into there other than to say everybody that's ever played at any school for me, consider you a son, consider you a great friend for life. Never turn down an opportunity. If I had the opportunity to help any of those guys, I do it in any way that I can, and feel pretty good that for the most part that stands the other way as well. Last F word I'd like to go over is family. I'd like my family to stand up real quick. I'd like to start by thanking my in-laws. My father-in-law passed away a few years back, and my mother-in-law, Jan, Dick and Jan Clark. It's pretty nice for anyone to have in-laws that you can lean on, as well as your own family. And my in-laws have done a lot of things for me over the years, for Tricia and I both, and appreciate all of that. My brothers, Buzz and Shane. My brother Buzz started two ways on the 1982 Mendon State Championship team. That was the first Mendon State Championship team there was. My brother Shane was the starting quarterback and safety for the 1989 Mendon State Championship team. And they like to remind me that there's only one Griffith brother that doesn't have a championship ring. So, at least as a player. So, those two guys have been great for me. Been able to share a lot of experiences. I talked to my older brother almost after every game. We would call and talk, get a lot of information from him, and it's great to have people like that that come and support you and do the things that my brothers have done. And then my sister, Lisa, who happens to be the all-time leading varsity career win person in the Griffith family. That's right, she has more career wins than I do. She's a varsity basketball coach at Mendon, superintendent there now. She also did some track, so I guess we can count those wins as well. But over the years, Lisa and I have done a lot of helping each other out with each other's programs, and I certainly appreciate everything that my sister has done for me over the years. Mom and Dad, as I said before, my dad did to coach with him. 1987, I graduated in the summer of '87. I started coaching in the summer of '87 at 17 years old. When I turned 18, the JV job at Mendon was open. They weren't real thrilled about hiring an 18-year-old to be the head JV coach. So the administration at that time made the agreement that if my dad would come on and coach, they would allow that. But a little more information on my dad. In the 1970s, my dad started the Rocky football program in Mendon, a youth football program. That is huge when you consider what Mendon did in the 80s, through the 80s, and then the early 90s. And you don't do that without a good, solid foundation. And that foundation was put together by my dad. Now, people understand, you can say all you want about how great things that guys do in football are, but without a lady, a woman, to be there and do the things, especially when you got 4 kids at home. My mom did a heck of a lot to really promote and support that. But that being said, it might have something to do with me being up here as well, because I believe I've been part of some type of football program since I was probably 3 or 4 years old. On the road, stuff back behind the back seat of the car as we're taking a batch of guys over to play up. Seatbelts weren't all that, folks. I don't want to get too mean with the old man. So, but Mom and Dad, thank you very much. And once again, wouldn't be up here if it weren't for you. My family starts with my oldest, Samantha. Samantha and Sabrina are out here. Samantha's husband, Ryan, and Sabrina's fiance, Logan. Girls, unfortunately, my 3rd daughter was not able to come tonight. She's at home. We had a litter of 12 golden retriever puppies that have to be hand-fed, believe it or not. And my wife and youngest daughter been trying to bring those guys along. It'll be 3 weeks here this Sunday, but she had to stay home and watch those guys. My 3 girls, everybody kind of laughs, but I'm going to be honest with you. Being a girl dad is the most wonderful thing. It's a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. My girls have been very supportive of me in everything we've done football-wise, right down to 19, I don't even know what year it would have been, homecoming game for Mendon, Wisconsin team. And Green and White Day is on Friday at Mendon because they're having homecoming. And my daughter jumps on the bus with a Constantine Falcon t-shirt on. Not left by Dad, trust me, Dad did not wear this to school. And then she had to proceed down the rows of the bus, letting everybody know that her dad coached at Constantine, and that's how that was going to be. I believe Constantine won that particular Friday night as well. So it was probably had something to do with you, Sam. But all 3 of my girls love you to death and wouldn't change anything there. And then Juice, the youngest, Juice graduated this year, played linebacker, was one of those idiots throwing the stones at the new school, by the way. That was that dude as well. Told you after the last game, man, it's been real. It really was different. The years I got to coach Juice were something I'll cherish forever. And finally, just like all the other coaches had said, the Rock, the one that you're leaning on all the time, that's my wife, Tricia. 1983, we were both 14-year-old freshmen. We had a football game against Schoolcraft. For some reason, I still can't figure this one out, we got a chance to go home before coming back for the game, because I don't ever remember Coach letting us go home. So I went home, I get a phone call. Phone call is from the little redhead down the road. And she said a couple things, and I honestly don't even remember what it was, but I remember saying, hey, did you know that tonight is game night? She says, well, yeah, I know, but you don't have to be there for probably another hour or so. I said, listen, you don't call me on game night until after the game. It's kind of an unwritten rule, and that's how things have to be. She apologized, she hung up. I remember thinking, I bet that girl never talks to me again. Amazingly enough, on Friday, she came up to me in the hall in the morning, not only spoke to me, congratulated me. We won the game the night before. Things were great. I remember thinking right then, that's a keeper. That's a keeper. And now, just 40 years later, basically, here we are, still together, great kids, and a wonderful family. I appreciate everything you've done for me along the way, Rick. I had one of my players ask me, Coach, congratulations. What does it mean to be a Hall of Famer? And I said to them, listen, being a Hall of Fame football coach is pretty special, but it isn't anything compared to knowing some of my players come away being Hall of Fame fathers, Hall of Fame husbands, and more importantly, Hall of Fame people. That's what we strive for as coaches, and that's what I hope to get. Thanks once again to the Coaches Association. Lastly, I can't go without saying this. Get some.